Mr. Speaker, I move that the following words be added and expresses our concern that these actions are contrary to international law and a violation of the United Nations Charter. Mr. Speaker, I want to begin by extending our thoughts to all those across the Middle East who have found their lives have been turned upside down by this recent military action. To all the New Zealanders who are concerned about loved ones spread throughout the Middle East, we send our thoughts to you as well. Mr. Speaker, New Zealand is a small country, but we can be a country that leads the world on international matters. Not because we are the biggest, not because we are the loudest, not because we have the largest military or the biggest economy, but because as a country we know who we are, we know what our values are, and we have the courage to stick up for the things that we think are important around the world. New Zealand has stood proudly and independently on the world stage as a voice for peace, as a voice for human rights, and importantly, as a strong voice and advocate for the principles of international law. That voice is more important now than it ever has been. Small countries like New Zealand rely on international laws for our own security, for our own economic prosperity, and for our own freedom. We turn our backs on international law at our own peril. The US and Israel bombing of Iran is a clear breach of international law. There is no UN mandate for it. There is no evidence that these attacks were a necessary act of self-defence. For the United States to claim that it was a preemptive act of self-defence because they were aware that Israel was going to attack Iran and that Iran may launch retaliatory attacks as a result of that, shows absolute contempt for international law and for the institutions that are designed to uphold it. The Iranian government is a brutal, oppressive and barbaric regime. It is possible to condemn their repression, to condemn the repression of their regime, and still be clear that unilateral military escalation is not the answer. In recent months, tens of thousands of Iranians have shown extraordinary courage. They've been taking to the streets and they've been demanding change at enormous personal risk. They're fighting for their rights, for their right to shape their own future. But the struggle of the Iranian people cannot be used to excuse military action that breaches international law and risks destabilising the entire region and further beyond. Mr. Speaker, it didn't work in Iraq. It didn't work in Afghanistan, and it won't work in Iran. When is the world going to learn the clear lessons of history? Dropping bombs, creating chaos, and then walking away will not give the Iranian people the future that they deserve. Our response must reflect our deep empathy for the innocent people who are being caught up in these events, for families losing loved ones, for civilians displaced by fear and destruction, whole populations facing huge uncertainty. Let's all be very clear as a parliament. There is never a justification for killing school children. It should never be excused or tolerated by anybody in this House. Mr. Speaker, we should be calling for restraint, for diplomacy, for the Iranian people's right to determine their own future. Mr. Speaker, New Zealand has stood up before and we should stand up again now. New Zealand opposed the US invasion of Iraq and history proved that that was the correct decision.